Hey friends, I'm your host, Dr. Elizabeth Ssemanda, the intuitive psychiatrist, and you're listening to Stepping into Soul Power, the podcast for people who know we are more than just our physical body. And today, we're gonna talk about something that is near and dear to my heart, intuition. But I'll say this, our intuition is such a powerful force. Intuition is the language of your soul. It is your soul speaking to you, kind of nudging you along and being like, hey, pay attention, go this way. but you know what? Sometimes it can be really tough to hear that wisdom, that inner knowledge. And one of the big things that tends to get in the way of really getting this divine knowledge is overthinking. In fact, a lot of times overthinking, being in a state where you keep going back and back and back to the same stuff over and over again, can really drown out what your soul is trying to speak to you. And in today's episode, I'm going to share, a little bit about what you can do, practical things that you can do if you're an overthinker to quiet that noise so that you can actually hear your inner guidance. And I'm going to say this, I'm going to be real. I'm a psychiatrist. I work with people who have really gone through some hard things and have really high anxiety, who are experts at overthinking. And I will tell you this, that you don't need to have a mental health diagnosis to be someone that overthinks. You don't. But sometimes overthinking can be an indicator of a mental health issue. And in fact, or it can even be an indicator of a medical issue too, right? Medical things or a medication issue. So that's why it's important to connect with a professional that you really trust, who knows you really well, who is able to give you sound advice. But I also believe in giving practical skills to try to empower yourself. And so we're going to talk about these practical skills, these things that you can do on your own. The other thing I want to say is part of the reason why I'm harping on, and I'm getting on the train that is trying to put out the flyer that, hey, we are here to really tap into our strength, and in particular our intuition, is because we're living in this new age. It's a new time right now. We are living in the age of AI. We are living in the age of algorithms. We are living in the age of non-stop information. Wherever you turn, somebody got something to say. Somebody got an opinion. There's a lot of noise out there. And so it's hard to know what to do with that. What's true, what's not true. But what I want to do is empower you to do the best you can with the tools that you got, with the beautiful brain that you got, really knowing or getting to the point where you can really master the art of discernment. And when I say discern, I mean pick and choose, figure out what's real and what's not real. And the best compass that you have isn't outside of yourself. It's in you. It is your intuition. Intuition is a universal skill that we all have. It's just the big difference is we got some people who have really honed in that craft. They put some hours in. It's kind of like this. Think of any sport. Think of I don't know, I'm thinking about tennis, right? There's Venus and Serena. They've been at it for years. they've been practicing that skill for years, um, and so they are superstars, right? Um, and so it is a skill within you that if you practice, it can get better. Um, the more you practice, the stronger it gets. And unfortunately, what I've seen, what really gets in the way, is overthinking. There are other things that can get in the way too, like fear, doubt. Like we can go down the list, but I want to focus on overthinking today because it's a tough one. It's tough. Uh, it's just when you are living in a way where your mind is running on a treadmill, replaying the same thought, reanalyzing the same thing, second guessing yourself, never reaching clarity. Like it really puts a hamper on you creating the life that you want for yourself. You won't take a while to make a decision. In fact, and the problem that happens with that is that if you're taking a while to make a decision, there are opportunities are time limited. So you don't have forever. And so you've got to have ways, things that you can do to really, really, really get at that. And then the other thing to remember is that this overthinking, and I'll put a little real research nugget, that there are studies that show that overthinking differs in different populations. I'll say this, like some studies have shown that women overthink a little more than men. And really trying to make sure they go through everything. And then there are also studies that have shown that younger people overthink more than older people. And when you think about that intuitively, it makes sense because I think we all go through this journey of life. We go through it, and as you go through it, you pick up a couple golden nuggets. You get a little wiser, hopefully. You start okay with making decisions, and many times you start really trusting yourself, looking into yourself, seeking your own wisdom, and really stepping into your soul power. So I want to get into like the practical tips, the things that are really, really helpful. But before I do that, I do want to say this, right? Um, when you think about overthinking and you think about intuition, a lot of times intuition can be very subtle. It can be, you get a gut feeling. It can be um, you getting uh, just a sudden knowing of something. It can be subtle, and whereas overthinking is loud and so easily drowns out the knowledge that the soul has. Uh, and I will say this, that um, I'm a mom, so prior to becoming a mom, I think it was a little bit easier to make decisions. But once I became a mother, I think my thinking ramped up because I was thinking about this little person that I'm responsible for. And I will say that motherhood changes it changes your thinking pattern. So I've had to implement some of these strategies, uh, on my own. You know, um, and so some of the tools that I want to talk about um, are fairly well known. The first tool I want to talk about is called cognitive diffusion. So what's cognitive diffusion? I'm gonna paint you a picture. So overthinking is like I want to go old school, like for those of you who grew up in the 80s, right? There are lots of cartoons where there's like a cartoon bomb that had like a ticking timer, right? So that picture overthinking as that, like that cartoon bomb, And so this technique is like that little plier that cuts, snaps the wires so that the bomb doesn't come off. This is what this technique does. So there are different types of finding ways to diffuse these overthinking thoughts, right? So one technique that some people use. So let's say we have a thought, right? I'm gonna use an example. I am unlovable. So instead of saying I'm unlovable, saying I am having the thought that I am unlovable puts a little bit of distance. It's not as potent. It gives you a little bit of space to have some perspective. The other technique that I love to use that I found to be really, really helpful is using music. Let me tell you something, music is powerful. Music can help really shift the energy of things. And so putting a thought that you don't want to keep thinking over and over and over again, putting it to a melody, a tune, like you could, I mean, for example, right, you could put it to the tune of Happy Birthday, right? I'm unlovable, I'm unlovable, I'm unlovable, I'm unlovable. I'm not a singer, and you could tell, but putting a thought, a thought to a tune. You pick the tune. If you do it, you will find that it starts to lose its power. The melody breaks its grip, and being strategic and putting it to a tune that you find funny can really, really, really disarm overthinking. So think about that. Another way to diffuse a thought is to say it really, really slow. Like slow it down. Say, I'm unlovable. There's something about that, switching it up, switching the pace, slowing it down. Then you can kind of take a step back and be like, So when you are having a thought, when you are overthinking over and over and over again, think about these three techniques. Think about doing that. Either labeling the thought with the preface, I'm having the thought that whatever thought you're having, or singing it and doing it in a funny melody, or really slowing things down can really help diffuse the power that those thoughts, or the grip that those thoughts seem to have over you. So then, those are some practical things. The other thing I will say is that what really helps is with overthinking, right? You go outside. You are outside. You focusing on, the future or the past. You can overthink the past. You can overthink the future. You can overthink the past. But what's going on is you're not here in the present moment. And the exercise, the thing that really brings you back to the present moment, are things that ground you, grounding techniques. We talk about this a lot in different areas of psychiatry, right? So things like grounding techniques can be mental, so things you do in your mind, using your intellect, or grounding techniques can be very physical, right? So going outside and rolling down a hill in the grass or something, I don't know, something like that. And that can be really grounding because it gets you out of your head and into your body. Some of the techniques that we like to talk about that are often recommended to help bring you back to the present moment is, I'll give you one that's frequently used, and then I'll give you another that's less frequently used. So one that we frequently use is the 5-4-3-2-1 method, right? So take a deep breath, look around you. So name 5 things you see, and then name 4 things you feel, and then name 3 things you hear. Then go on to name 2 things you smell, and then the last is name 1 thing you taste. And so you go through that, and because it makes you like pay attention to like what's going on, paying attention to your physical senses, it helps get you out of that overthinking state. And then the other technique that sometimes I use is the 3-3-3. It's easy to remember. 333. Name three things you see. So look around you, the room. Name three things you see. Name three things you that are touching you, right? And then take 3 deep breaths. And the beauty, what I love about this, taking 3 breaths, I will tell you that the breath is powerful. And a lot of times when we get into an overthinking state, especially when there's some worry involved, we aren't breathing deeply. There's a lot of, there's that. And those are shallow breaths. And to activate the part of the nervous system that where we are able to relax the parasympathetic nervous system, we need to breathe deep. We gotta let the breath go down into the diaphragmatic breaths. That helps activate the part of our nervous system that helps us feel a little less stressed. So those are a couple of different grounding techniques to consider. And then the other thing I will say that I think is helpful is if you know, let's say this, right? Let's say you know that you are an overthinker, right? I'm a big believer in setting yourself up for success. Okay, and what I mean by that is thinking ahead of the things that help center you, the things that help bring you peace. And what I like to tell people to think about is even to have a grounding box, and it contains things that help bring you back to center. You could even put fabrics that you love or scents that you love to smell, because our senses are particular. And there's some things, for me, it's roses. I love the smell of roses or lavender. Like, it can be really just help bring a sense of peace into my life. So creating a box where there are fabrics that help center you. There are smells that you really, really find to be calming to you. You can even have, if you're a visual person, you can even have photos that are within that box that you can be like, okay, I'm going into my overthinking. I'm going into overthinking mode. We got to do something. You can bring up that picture. It could be of a beautiful sunset. I don't know. Or just so you, but preparing ahead of time, putting that box together, having a toolkit. You can use this. I'm a mom, so I like to think of things that I can do for kids. You can do this for kids too, right? If you got kids, having a grounding box, they have a little tantrum, be like, let's go get your grounding box. You can have that for your kid. You can have that for you, to help with your overthinking so that you can come back to your body, bring yourself back, and be able to hear the intuitive guidance that is trying to come through. Okay, so that's grounding. And I guess I could talk I could talk for a long time about grounding. There are many things you can do to come back to your body, but those are some. That's just, you can read about it. Go on the innards of net and then see. I'm a big believer in you testing things out, going into the world, and then finding what works best for you. All right. The other thing I will say, the other technique that I really like for people to use in overthinking is better visualization, and by that I mean getting in a quiet space. So getting in a quiet space and using the imagination. Your imagination is powerful. Your imagination can take you to places, and really can be used as a tool to help you cultivate certain states of being. It really can. It really can. I'm a big believer in binaural beats. I think that they're great. I like to use binaural beats with, they're different frequencies, but with a river, a stream, brook sound, right? And then, so put that on. There are lots of free apps that you can use or even their YouTube. There's YouTube out there, but all you have to do is put the put the bubbling stream sounds on and close your eyes and then imagine your thoughts, like every thought that comes up, imagine it coming up and then floating down the river. You don't have to chase it, you watch it go by. Just watch it drift down. The beautiful thing about thoughts is no thought lasts forever. And the other reason why I also like this exercise is because nature sounds are very calming. Music in general is so powerful, but nature sounds in particular, they all, it activates, kind of brings you, it's like, oh, can help you bring you back to center. So combining the visualization with you watching your thoughts and letting go, and then hearing the water. For many of us, water is just brings us peace. That's why real estate near water is so damn. I'm sorry, it's so expensive. It's so expensive. So those are some things to think about. Those are some things to think about. I will say this. I really, really, really want you to know that you don't have to let overthinking bully you. You have a lot of power. Your thoughts are just your thoughts, and you are not your thoughts. You are so much more than that. Really cultivating that relationship between you and your body and using these tools can help you, give you some tools, something to use. Like when things start to spiral. And the other thing, I'll put it out there, like I said, this is for educational purposes only. If you are in a tough slate, sometimes it's helpful to have someone. I'm a big believer in, if you think that it's a really deep issue, then you need to, um, you know, connect with the right people. Connect with medical professionals, healing professionals that will help you. Don't be don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. So, just want to encourage you. Overthinking is something that many people do. Um, it is an indicator that there needs to be a shift. I would say that, like, if that's going on, then it's just like a little alarm bell, just saying like, hey, there's something that needs to be addressed. We got to shift things, and your the messages that your soul is trying to get you are being a little bit covered up by some noise, and you can use these tools to help move you in the direction of really stepping into your soul power. So remember, intuition is a skill. We all are intuitive. It's just like you can decide for yourself, like, how good do I want to get at it? And use some of these tools in order to hear what your inner guidance is trying to tell you, and let me know. Send me a comment. Let me know, like, did this work for you? Did it not work for you? Like I said, you need to use your own intuition with anything that anyone says on the inners of net. So I will say this, that I'm going to invite you to, this week, pay attention to your thoughts and notice if you start going down that road, the rabbit hole. Notice when you've got a thought that keeps looping in your mind, and try a technique. Try to diffuse it. Diffuse that bomb. Diffuse it so it's not disturbing your peace. Label it. Sing it out, and see if that provides a little bit of space for your intuition to come through. If you haven't heard it yet today, I appreciate you. The soul in me honors the soul in you. If you'd like to see more episodes like this, please subscribe or click here. And friends, if this spoke to you, Leave a comment below. We would love to hear from you.